It is that time again. Terrible. I know. So I've had a few more questions and things to follow up on. So one of the comments which I did really appreciate and made me think as well was asking about top three places that I have travelled to extensively and would seriously consider living in. So, for sure, Japan. Two options. Option one would be the big smoke of Tokyo. I love it here. I love the energy here. The shopping, the food, the accessibility for everything. The transport is amazing. And one of my other criteria was it's cheaper than Sydney and it has a lot of gyms. So like tick, 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 tick. I think the people are extremely friendly and helpful. My second option within Japan is Okinawa. I have only been there twice, but I have had like such a good time. I wouldn't say I've necessarily done it extensively, but I loved it. Like the nature for me was the best thing I've ever seen. The hiking, the beaches, the water, like it was stunning. Definitely a lot more chilled than Tokyo, especially one of the islands I spent a bit of time in, which is Ishigaki. But it was awesome. Like I'm very very keen to go back, and I will go back. Mark my words. So that's my top option. That's option number one. Option number two is close by. That is Korea. So I've been to Seoul quite a few times. I do love it. On paper, for me, it has everything that I'm looking for. Again, for my work, fitness is extremely big. Literally every few blocks there's a gym. A lot of people do speak English. I found especially the younger generation really, really handy to actually have conversations with people when you need to ask for directions or ask for help. And a lot of people that I did have a chat to were always wanting to catch up, have coffee, and get to know me more. So I felt very, very welcomed and loved there. Food's fantastic. To me, the cost of living is cheaper than in Sydney. So again, tick, tick, tick. The third one is a bit of a biased opinion. Probably Los Angeles. The only reason being is I have a very good friend there, and he is the reason why I like Los Angeles. Without sounding off, I'm not a big fan of LA in itself. I think the people are extremely friendly. I love the variety of food and culture, but I have my own feelings about LA. But the only reason I'd probably live there would be of this friend of mine, and that piece of shit knows who he is, or she, or they, however. But yeah, no, that would be my top three. Yeah, a few other things. So let's continue this terribly boring chat. I've had a lot of people again, obviously come up to me saying that they've been dealing with osteoarthritis or recently diagnosed with osteoarthritis. As we've said in other videos, it's really, really important to find a health professional you can work with and who can guide you on your journey. I have had a couple of really good ones in Sydney, one being John Economist from Jack Physio, and another one being Luke Bridges at Momentum Physio. These two people have really, really helped me, give me more confidence, and give me variations around the training that I can and can't do. So, thumbs up. I would highly recommend anybody finding a good physical therapist or something similar. It is hard because you do get demotivated to train. So, currently I'm dealing with a shoulder issue. I have a positive test for shoulder sulcus, so it's really, really unstable. And I've got an inflamed bicep tendon on my acromioclavicular joint. So, it does cause me a lot of issues. Literally feels like my shoulders like rounded forward and just moving around everywhere. But after seeing a physio whilst I was traveling in America and working on just reducing the range of motion, reducing the complexity of exercises and the load, so I increased repetitions to counter for that. It is slowly improving if I'm not being an idiot. That's the main point really. But for those people who kind of deal with chronic pain and have chronic issues, there's a big demotivation to train because you might be thinking, hey, this isn't working, or hey, it's not fixing my pain, or the exercises I'm doing actually I'm not seeing results from. So I think it's important, we really got to look at this from a long-term point of view. So yes, for the first weeks, month, you may not really be noticing anything, but hopefully if you're with the right specialist, as time goes on, you should be seeing some type of improvement. So improvement can look like a lot of different things. An example I can give you is, even though yes, I'm still somewhat constantly in pain with some part of my body, this was very much at the start of my knees, I could only walk 1 kilometer or less than a mile, and my knees would be really annoyed. That was really annoying, and I kind of can't tell you the particular time when I realized I could do more, but when I look back at it now, it's been, say, 4 years since I've had a lot of issues. I can now walk over, 16 kilometers a day. And sometimes, yes, the pain threshold is the same. So say I'm still at a 4 out of 10 regardless. But within that pain, I can do more. Similar thing to doing cable knee extension. So where you're sitting down and there's a padding here and I'm pushing my legs up and then slowly and controlled coming back down. Those exercises do sometimes still annoy my knees, but it's a constant pain threshold that I'm happy to work in, and I've noticed over time I'm able to get stronger, and B, actually have more range of motion with that, even though the pain's the same. So there is an element of acceptance with that, in my opinion. Again, as long as you're working with a professional who can guide you, and it's just really, sometimes it is demotivating and annoying. Like recently with my shoulder, I found it quite aggravating to train and just not feeling like I want to train. But again, it's always about, hey, what exercises can we do around it? Because exercise is very, very beneficial for our health, and for someone who might be dealing with chronic pain, in my opinion, it is very beneficial to help increase one's tolerance to said pain. So it's just trying to find ways that we can be consistent around that. For diet, I get a lot of people obviously asking about diet. I know I've mentioned in the past, I use an app called MyFitnessPal. So I'm kind of more the type of person that I stick within a certain calorie range, and the one kind of macronutrient you might say that I prioritize or try and put a lot of emphasis on is protein. So I always try and have lean sources of protein every day, hopefully every meal, but every day. For me, because I'm traveling a lot and I'm on somewhat of a budget, I generally eat at supermarkets or convenience stores if I'm by myself. If someone has the unlucky luxury of spending some time with me, then yes, we might go out to eat or just get a coffee. So when I'm by myself, some staples I kind of go for, which are on the cheaper end, is obviously eggs. Most places here in Japan kind of sell like packaged chicken. It sounds very unappetizing, but then again, my palate is very basic. Tofu, low-fat yogurt, those are kind of the main things I personally eat or look at. On the other side of putting protein aside, I really try and emphasize a different coloration of fruits and vegetables. I like to eat a lot. I'm the type of person that may not have, as you could tell, I may not have a very extensive and fine palate, but I like a lot of food. I like a lot of bulk and cumbersome. So I always, regardless if I feel like I'm going to bulk up or shred down, I always try and pick vegetables and fruits which are lower in calories. So some great examples for these would be like berries or citrus fruit. From a vegetable side, put fungi in there, but mushrooms, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, basically leafy greens, also carrots, onions, and I know it's fruit technically, but tomatoes. These are all things which I feel like I can have a lot of. They sustain me. Having a lot of array of colors also means a lot of different vitamins and minerals. So from a health perspective, they're great. I think also with one's hunger, I find 0-calorie drinks really, really helpful. So an example here is something I am obsessed with, which is barley tea. So while some overseas actually drink that more than water, which is probably concerning, but I do love it. 0 calories. Another example could be like Coke Zero or Diet Coke. You know, it's between 0 and 5 calories, I guess, depending on the country you're in and the metrics they use. And especially if I have a sugar craving, which I do a lot, these can be really, really helpful because it's some type of flavor or some type of texture in my mouth. You can perceive that however you want, which kind of helps if I'm feeling like I need something. Maybe if there's like a 0 calorie gum or mint that you enjoy, that could also be really, really beneficial. Same thing as this kind of, I'm not actually hungry if I think about it, but I want food. So it's something that just kind of keeps my mind busy and keeps my mouth busy, because as you can tell, I don't talk a lot. Yeah, so that's kind of it for now. I appreciate the question around my travel and maybe where I want to live. Hopefully next year we'll be moving overseas somewhere. I just also want to put in the aspect of trying to train around having a chronic pain issue, again alongside a therapist. But there are ups and downs, and it's just trying to keep in mind that there's a long-term goal that you and your healthcare professional want to achieve together. And just trying to remember that in the back of your head, so when the times are low and you feel like crap, you know why you're doing it and the benefits behind it. And then again, from a nutrition point of view, putting protein aside and cutting calories, generally everything else is pretty much, you can have as much variety as you want, if I'm making sense. That's my view on it. You know, obviously weight and health don't always go in line, but if we're talking about aesthetics, then yes, I think it's really important, again, emphasizing lean protein and sticking within a certain calorie range, and you'll be good for your goals. If you're talking about health, then obviously yes, trying to also have a great variety of fruits and vegetables and other things. Anyway, that's enough shenanigans from me, and until next time, thank you.